Hello everybody, I'm Apiks and today I should be doing an interview with the creator of Pliza Online, Euan. He will tell us about the game.
Hello. Pliza Online is an online role-playing game developed by Pliza Studios. It's created by myself and a team of 4 others: Max McFarlane, Lewis Glass, Callum Bell and Gary Manser. And as a team, we've been working on this game consecutively for about 5 years on and off. And over the last about 2 years, it's really started picking up, and it's all going well. So you do quests, you engage in combat, you fight other players, just the usual stuff. But there is some features in there that aren't in other games, which we'll probably get onto later.
Thank you, Euan. Now tell me a bit about what inspired you to make the game.
Well, when I was younger, I played quite a lot of role-playing games, MMOs. The actual team members wasn't just necessarily me who was inspired. Quite a lot of my team members, like my friend Max, who's on the team, played quite a lot of Pokemon, and I played quite a lot of a game called RuneScape, which is an MMO, and of course he played Pokemon, which is single player. So we used the graphical style of Pokemon with the 2D side scrolling, and we used the MMO features from RuneScape and kind of combined them into a game. And that kind of, my love for MMOs and his love for that graphical style and, that kind of thing, kind of put it together, and we created Pliza.
Do you want to tell me more about the art style? I heard that it was very interesting.
Yeah, the art style is actually commented quite a lot. Quite a lot of people actually say that is why they like it, or that is why they love the game, and it's because the graphic style is really kind of cutesy, like 90s kind of 80s. Zelda mixtured with just after 8-bit, so like with the really old Mario games with like the pixels. Now it's kind of, this game's kind of got more detail in the characters, but it's very Zelda-esque, and quite a lot of people enjoy that, particularly of the older generations, and people of younger generations like it because it's nice on the eyes. The graphics have obviously been purchased elsewhere, but they're really good and they really kind of shine and show the game off, which is good. And it's proof that games don't have to be 3D to look really nice, and that 2D games can look just as good, if not better, in some cases.
I see, Euan. That sounds great. I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate it. And you said something about quests. What can you tell me about the quests? What kind of quests will there be?
Well, there's quite a large amount. We're actually it's heavy development at the moment. Quests. We've been working on it for ages, because what we eventually done was we went through what's known as the lazy route. I mean, nothing in programming is lazy, believe me, but it's known as the lazy route, as in kill 10, pick up 5. And I thought, and I was doing it, and I thought, hang on a second, why am I releasing these types of quests when I know that people will get bored? They will. I said, you know what? No. So I'm kind of spending more time again. I'm going kind of more down the RuneScape route. And I'm releasing not just do this, do that, kill 10 of this, kill 5 of that. It's more like, right, there's an investigation, a cat has been killed, right? No one knows who done it, so you have to go about and you have to question everybody in the village, right? Did you kill the cat? No, I didn't kill the cat. Right, okay. Why? Where were you at like 8 a.m, kind of Cluedo-themed quest there? Where were you at 8 a.m? Right, you were there, right, okay. And then if you do the quest successfully, you will get some good items, access to a new shop. If you don't do it well and you do it bad, then you'll get access to maybe, I don't know, like a cat hat or something. I don't know. Quests won't be in the alpha, but they will be. They're not quests. We don't call it that. We're called missions, in which it isn't even a mission. It's kind of side, kind of background stuff in which you can just do for a laugh and then unlock stuff. But there is no like quest log or anything yet, but it is planned. So it's a very confusing system, and the reason why I've kind of been not giving a lot of information away at the moment is because we are still it is in heavy development. I don't want to say too much, because if people are watching this video later on and then they find out that the system's completely changed, they're like, hold on, he's lying. Well, no, guys, I'm not lying, okay? It's heavy development. Everything's subject to change in the quest system.
I see that your way of handling with quests or missions in this case is very interesting. It's more of a role-play-ish kind of way,
yeah.
Not like the usual just grind. And that's very good. A lot of people will like it, including me. But tell me, what is the world? What kind of NPCs will the world be populated with? I suppose there are NPCs.
Yeah, of course there is. There's quite a lot of races. We tried to diversify. The NPCs comes under two categories. It comes under non-attackable and attackable. So obviously monsters, like goblins, flying pigeons, cows, dragons, the typical monsters. They are attackable NPCs. Non-attackable NPCs are like innkeepers, villagers, quest givers in a sense, like maybe the town elder from Cropsford who kind of like looks over the farms and stuff. Yeah, he's a non-attackable NPC, and they provide conversation. The non-attackable NPCs provide conversation. They provide items. They provide shops. They provide non-linear quests. They provide like PvP arena setups and all that. Get quest party setups, that kind of stuff. And attackable NPCs, of course, you can attack them to gain loot, to gain XP, to maybe get a key, to unlock a door, to get and it's those two kind of categories. But it works. Our system is unique in the NPCs, and it's the pathfinding actually, which we are incredibly proud of. In which quite a lot of games out there. World of Warcraft's actually got a very good pathfinding mechanic, and we do too, in which if you're hiding behind a rock, the NPC won't just stand there and look at you. The NPC will try and smartly find the best possible route, the best possible situation, the best possible item that he has in his inventory to use against you. So if he's got a bow and he's far away, he will use that bow to attack you. He won't just walk up to you and look at you, or walk up to you and try and walk around the rock. He will use whatever weapons which we equip him with to attack you. And I think that's incredibly important. That's for the attackable NPCs. Non-attackable NPCs provide, what we are adding so much dialogue, and we're constantly improving it, try to make it as funny and sometimes serious as possible, depending on who the NPC is. Like there's a farmer in Cropsford, and he's talking about how people are killing his cows. And he's not happy with that at all, because the cows are of course dying, and when the cows are dying, he's losing money. So he's talking about how he's a vegetarian, and you have a couple of options there. You can say, I'm a vegetarian too, and he'll start talking to you, and then he'll start selling you stuff vegetarian-esque, like plants. And if you say, no, I'm really hungry, those cows look like a great snack, he'll get quite annoyed and he won't talk to you ever again. He won't give you any of those items. You're going to have to kind of lose out. But then another NPC in the village will be like, I love meat too. Here's some meat-based products. And those meat-based products will pretty much be very similar to the plants, but it'll be different depending on what option you've picked. And that's kind of how we've ranged NPCs to be smart, to have a lot of dialogue, and to kind of have a brain of their own, and a personality of their own. We've worked on the personalities. Every NPC isn't just thrown out there. We have worked on those NPCs near enough to perfection. And definitely by the time the full game launches, every NPC will be smart, will be intelligent, will have its own personality. They might be annoying, they might be witty, they might be funny, they might be... I'm trying to think of any other personalities that they might be happy all the time, they might be depressed. And we want to make sure that players get the same vibe off a character as we do, to make sure obviously we're doing our jobs right. But that's how NPCs are different, and that's how NPCs work.
Well, Euan, that sounds interesting. I like how you try to make, and you are making the game feel more alive, like more real, with all these NPCs. But I have to ask something. Are there mad NPCs? Because I love the madmen. Yeah. They just give a very nice sense.
I'm glad you asked that, actually. In a cave, I mean, I'm trying not to give too much away here because I don't want to spoil the user's experience. But in the cave, there is a certain psychotic hermit who's been living in the cave for quite a long period of time, and he's not quite fond of visitors. I'll say I'm kind of, but yes, there is a hermit in the cave, and he isn't quite fond of visitors, so he might be attackable, and he might have certain goblin, undead, and skeletal minions with him.
That's very interesting, but is it possible to make friends with him?
Well, we'll see. We've actually not finished the dialogue with him yet, but possibly we might be able to be mad with him. You know, if you are a mad character, Apiks, I'm sure you are. You will maybe be able to make friends. Maybe even that you'll even have some mad-based products. Maybe a shop or something. He might sell you some stuff. I don't know yet. Well, but I'll take that on board. I'll write that down. I'll speak to the other developers about that.
Thank you, Euan.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, now then, continuing on, what could you tell me about the hurdles that you encountered during development?
Well, there was quite a lot of problems. We use a programming language called Visual Basic 6, and that itself is a problem because when we started creating Pliza, it was about 2008, 2007. When we created it, originally it was Visual Basic 6, but it wasn't in its prime, but it was a very stable language. There wasn't anything better than it at that time. Well, there was C++ and stuff, but it was still a good language. Now there is a lot of languages that are better than it now, and of course we've built so much on Visual Basic 6, we're going to have to keep on going, and we're building a very stable game on top of it. It is a hurdle in itself because we have to do more than we would in another language, and in the future we are definitely going to move from Visual Basic to probably a bit C++ or C#. Other hurdles includes graphics, getting a graphics designer. We've actually had a few graphics designers, but and all of them have been absolutely amazing. And that's only been really recently when we started picking up steam. And before it was almost impossible. We had to buy graphics and spend, hundreds of pounds on graphics to make sure that the game looked good. And we didn't have a graphics artist to do it for us. And our logos, we didn't have a logo for about 2 years. And no one could really recognize the game under logo, whereas now we do, which is always good. And so graphics was a hurdle on top of the programming language. Also, I am in full-time education, so education was a problem with exams, with tests, with all these problems, and I had to kind of balance school life with the game, and it's very difficult to balance that as a teenager because you don't know what to go with. Should I really focus on going into schooling? I'm trying to think if there's any more. No, not really, because we've always had a good team. That was never a problem, and that was never anything we had to overcome. My team have always been incredibly dedicated, and I always thank them for that. So that's always good.
I consider that it was a very long adventure, and I'm very glad that you managed to pull through it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people are wondering about the lore of the world. Yeah. What's the world called? What's it about? What threatens the world, if there's such a thing? Tell us.
Well, no, this is not spoiler heavy. It's okay, I'm not going to give any spoilers away because I know people will want to explore the world and find out stuff for themselves. But the world is under attack. Now, obviously that is not a very original idea, but of course, just like our NPCs, our items, and our quests, it has an original spin on it. The world is being attacked from an entity. The worlds of Hell, or what we've called Helja, and the worlds of Helja and Eferelda, are the barriers between the two worlds are disappearing. And the monsters in Eferelda and all the darkness in Eferelda and all the bad monsters, what they're trying to do is they're trying to thin this barrier as much as possible to allow more stuff from Helja to come across. And Eferelda is the world I think I mentioned there. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to stop this from happening. You're working with everyone you can, pulling all the resources, all the good NPCs together to properly fight this. And you can pick sides. Do you choose to work with Helja and destroy the barriers once and for all? Or do you choose to work with the good guys? Now, of course, it is an MMO, so we can't make it that these effects are incredibly lasting. But there is obviously huge items and rewards for being good and being bad. We wanted to make it so that there was a player choice, and then of course those good and those bad players can then fight each other in PvP and attack each other, which is obviously very fun in itself. So you might end up getting a burning hatred for the people from Helja, you might end up getting a burning hatred from the people of Eferelda. It's entirely up to you. And you will discover a lot more when you play the game, when you read through the books in the game, when you even talk to NPCs, talk to elders, talk to all that. It's very lore heavy. My team member Callum we call him the lore master because he does all the lore, and he has spent hours on the lore and on the story, and it might sound pretty basic now, but I'm not giving a lot away. Trust me, it gets a hell of a lot more in depth. See what I said there? A hell of a lot more in depth. Just filled a pun. Put a pun in there. That was great.
I see.
Well, that sounds very interesting, Euan, but tell me, will Hell have a hellish, well, Helgia, or however you say it, will it have a hellish landscape, and Everelda will it have a heavenly, you know? What kind of landscapes are there?
Well, Everelda is the overworld. There is a world above that, but we're not speaking of that yet. But the world underneath Helgia, yes, it does have a burning landscape, as you could say. It's got fires, uncontrollable fires. Pretty much like everyone's obviously played Minecraft. Kind of like the Nether, but more grandiose. Caves are absolutely huge. There is no safe place in Helgia. No safe place. None. Like, I mean, they say that in the Nether, in Minecraft or whatever, and you build an obsidian wall or whatever and you're fine. Or you build a cobblestone house and you're fine. But here, there is none. There is monsters that randomly appear. There is like imps and stuff that just appear and just start like attacking you for no apparent reason. You're like, what have I done? There is no cities. There is no anything in hell. It's just barren wasteland, and it won't be there at the game's launch, but it will released as a free expansion. Helgia will be released as a free expansion. So will the above world. So I'm not giving anything else away about that either.
Oh, so no Everelda information?
Everelda is the overworld, as in the surface world, and Helgia's hell. So that's like we are Earth, and Earth in this terms is Everelda. That's the continent of Everelda, and that's kind of the overworld. And then Heaven has got another name, and Helgia it's called Helgia. There is no information to Heaven or an above world or mountain. I'm not getting that. No, I'm not folding. I'm not gonna say anything. I refuse.
Okay. How are you planning to pull out magic? Because there's magic, right?
Yes, there is.
Yeah. How are you planning to pull that off? Like swordmaster skills? Tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, we've got it won't be there available for the alpha, but what we're working on heavily for beta anyway is what's known as a skill progression system, which actually quite a lot of MMOs haven't actually put in. And by that we don't mean you buy another skill. We mean the more you use a skill, it will level with you, which means you don't have to go to the shops and constantly buy new spells. You know, like you're on some kind of some shopping trip. You can buy new spells, but those spells will level with you. And by level with you, I mean you use a spell 15 times, and all of a sudden, you know, red flames come out of it instead of thingy flames. It gets double damage. It becomes an area of effect spell and attacks NPCs and stuff around it. And spells evolve with it. Now, spells, due to contrary belief, aren't just for magicians or whisperers. I better explain the class system. There's a warrior, there is a magician, and a whisperer. So pretty much a warrior is a melee combat tank, magician is a damage dealer, and kind of back of the cave fighting or whatever, and the whisperer is a healer. Probably going to change that to druid. Actually, we've got quite a couple of class names. The third class isn't finished yet, but the first and second are. And magicians, due to popular belief, people always find, magicians have the spells, don't they? They have the spells, and no, in Pliza, they don't. The warriors have spells like Powerful Slash. They have spells like Warrior Stomp. They have spells like, I think it was like Recurring Blade or something. We have a lot of abilities. Abilities, spells for all three classes. You know, like the Whisperer can turn into animals. The Whisperer can heal, you know, and get XP for it at the same time. So it's kind of, the spell system is diverse, and it's kind of like it leads on to other spells and leads on to other skills and leads on to other abilities. But at the moment, it doesn't, but it will. And that's how we've kind of managed to remain original in the spell aspect.
That sounds very interesting, Euan. I'm sure that I will enjoy leveling up my spells, especially with that madman. I'll be very happy. Anyways, tell me about the PvP combat. Is there tournaments? Is there an arena? What about the interworld fighting? Tell me.
Yeah, right. Well, PvP is a very important aspect of of just the genre in general. But we thought we would take a more, again, original approach to it. And quite a lot of games do it, but it's we don't believe it's been fleshed out properly. In which you go to a location, and in that location there will be an Arena Blades Master. You speak to the Arena Blades Master and you're like, hello, how you doing? You'll be like, alright, I'm doing fine, how are you? And all that, all that stuff. And after you actually get into a conversation with him, if you're above level 10, which is actually quite difficult to get to, once you reach above level 10, and once you speak to him, he will give you a array of maps to choose from. Now, a map isn't just a different kind of colour, or it is a different, like, not atmosphere, sorry, but it is different, like, things are placed differently. There's castles and stuff in some of them. You know, there is different objectives in PvP that we're working on, like capture the flag. At the moment it's just deathmatch, but then we'll have team deathmatch, and then teams. You know, like you go in as a party, which a party is just a 4-player team. And in that 4-player team, you can, you know, go in and attack other teams, and you know, and it's a very diverse system in the way that we're starting the game. When the game launches, there'll be over 12 PvP maps, which is a lot of PvP maps, and every single one of them will be completely different. There will be no one that is exactly the same. Each one will have a castle in the middle, maybe have a hell castle, like at one side of the map with a lava moat around it with a bunch of NPCs, you know, to diversify it, and a bunch of NPCs attacking other NPCs, and then attacking you, and then firing, you know, arrows at you and stuff to kind of make it a bit more hellish. But you don't have to play that map. That's the thing. We don't want to force, right, you have to play this map. You get to choose which map you want to play. Whether you want to play, I don't know, we've actually not named any of them yet, but whether you want to play, you know, in really dark caves and you can't see much, or whether you want to play in, I don't know, hell, or whether you want to play this and that. And it's a very unique experience in itself, because when you kill a player, you get a point. And then obviously these points rack up and allow you to get PvP gear, and that PvP gear is very good in PvP. Outside, we didn't want to punish people who didn't play PvP and decided to go more player versus environment and attack NPCs. So the armor in PvP is good, but it isn't as good as you would be leveling wise. But if you love PvP and you keep killing players and you get armor, that armor will be amazing in PvP. But outside, it'll be really good, but not as good, because we don't want to punish people who don't play PvP, and we're kind of trying to work to balance that. But the armor is still really, really good. It's definitely worth the point system, definitely worth the abilities, etc.
Well, that sounds very interesting yet again, Euan. Well, I think I'll enjoy a lot seeing that map with the NPCs fighting each other, and I'll just barge in the middle with my party and annihilate them, and, you know, capture the castle and protect it.
We'll see.
I think I'll do that if it's possible, of course. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Well then, thank you for the interview, Euan. Is there anything you want to add?
Just one final note. Pliza Online is having an alpha test on July 29th. You can find out all our details at our Facebook page, which will I assume, be linked below along with our website. And from there, you can talk to our community. We're having a community website built really soon, in which you can engage in the conversations, marketplace, the usual stuff. And please, if you do have the time and if you are interested, please like the Facebook page, because it means a lot to us as a team. But I'd like to thank you as well, Apiks, for interviewing me and for taking the time out of your busy day to make time for me anyway. Thanks for that.
No problem, Euan, and thank you everybody for listening to this.